Hi, I'm Susan Robinson. Since 1973, Social Advocates for Youth, or SAY, has been providing a variety of services for families in Santa Clara County. Right here in Cupertino, SAY's Youth and Family Counseling Center provides services for people of all ages. On this edition of Take 53, join me and my guest, Community Liaison for the Youth and Family Counseling Center, Tessa Moore, as we discuss the services they offer and how you may be able to benefit. That's next on Take 53.
There's something spreading in the third world. No one's immune to it. It passes from a mother to her children, from a man to his neighbor, and before long, it affects an entire village. It's called knowledge. Care. We're helping people learn to live without us.
Gotta jump on plane, a new place to go, some stuff to see, cool stuff to know. It's you and your buddies hanging out.
We take trips. Hey, check this out.
You got Cub Scout cool, and your end comes to roll. You got Cub Scout cool, and it's in your soul.
Getting it together till we're out of sight. We're sticking with Scouts and we're doing all right. We got cool. We got cool.
You got Cub Scout cool.
Welcome to Take 53. I'm Susan Robinson, here with Tessa Moore, Community Liaison for the Youth and Family Counseling Center here in Cupertino. Tessa, thanks for joining me on Take 53 today.
Thank you.
What exactly is Social Advocates for Youth, and how does the Youth and Family Counseling Center fit in with the overall SAY organization?
Social Advocates for Youth is a nonprofit organization that basically, I'd say our main mission is to promote and support the well-being of families. We have three main programs in the South Bay area. We have two residential programs for adolescents. One is called Casa Say, and that's in Mountain View, and that's a crisis residential program for adolescents from age 13 to 17, and that's for both boys and girls. And that program is where maybe the teenager has run away or is threatening to run away, or there's some kind of crisis going on in the home and people kind of need a timeout from each other. And the goal of that program is family reunification. So all the family is working on the teenager returning to the home after the 28-day program. Our other residential program is called the Life Skills Alternatives Program. And that's a program for older adolescent girls, most of whom are court referred. All the girls in that program are wards of the court. And then our other program here in Cupertino is the Youth and Family Counseling Center. And that's an outpatient counseling center that we work with all ages, but primarily we work with families.
I see. So the SAY organization is more of an umbrella organization, and it covers all these different services.
That's right, yes. SAY is the main organization, and then the three programs that I mentioned are specific programs.
I see. Now the center here in Cupertino, basically to what types of people do you serve? What groups of people?
We serve all types of people.
All age groups?
All age groups, yes, yes, all age groups. All cultural backgrounds, all socioeconomic backgrounds. Yeah.
I know there are other agencies for mental health care and these types of things in the area. Now, how does your center, how does it differ from those organizations? How would you say?
We have a wider range of services than a lot of organizations do, because we have the residential programs as well as the outpatient counseling. Mainly I'd say we differ because we feel that the family is important, and our emphasis is on family work. And I don't necessarily mean your typical nuclear family with mom and dad and 2.3 kids and the dog, because that's not what the typical family looks like today. You know, there's a lot of blended families, there's a lot of single-parent families. So when I say family, I don't mean the traditional family.
So you deal with a lot of modern problems that have come up with these new types of families?
Yes.
I see.
Yeah.
And how is the center funded?
We have funding from a variety of sources. The overall agency is funded through the Social Services Agency, some state funding, some local funding from local communities. We have money from United Way. That's probably about 10 to 12% of our budget, our contract with United Way. Some money through client fees. We have a sliding scale, but some money does come through client fees, and through private donations and grants and foundations. So I think altogether our agency gets its funding from about 12 different sources. It's quite a variety.
So it is a nonprofit agency?
It's a nonprofit agency.
Okay,
yes.
and I was going to ask you about how the fees are determined. You said it's on a sliding scale, and earlier you mentioned to me that if some people can't meet even the basic fee, there is an alternative. What was that alternative again? Okay.
Yes, the fees at the Youth and Family Counseling Center are on a sliding scale. Everybody gets at least one free session when they first come in, and then the fee is based according on the person's income and how many people there are in the family. If somebody is unable to meet even the bottom line fee, there are some alternative funds that can be used sometimes. We also have a contract with Cupertino Community Services, and they will pay for counseling through our agency for up to 10 sessions for people who are eligible.
That's great. So some people who normally couldn't afford even the basic fee in this way are able to get counseling.
Yes. Yes.
That's great. How many counselors do you have, and what are the usual problems that you see the most often?
Okay. We have 6 marriage and family therapists on the staff, and we have 1 PhD in clinical psychology, and we have 2 counseling interns from Santa Clara University who are working towards, they're working on hours towards their MFCC. And I don't think we have a typical problem that we see people for. Often it involves parenting. Sometimes it involves some kind of drug or alcohol problem. It can be a real wide variety of things. There isn't really one typical thing.
So it really varies, hard to pin down one thing. Okay, let's take a break. But when we return, we'll talk about more of the services offered here at the Youth and Family Counseling Center in Cupertino and motivational programs for youth.
You know, Kermit, by recycling, we save valuable landfill space and help clean up the environment.
Yeah, what are you recycling here anyhow, Fozzie?
Bottles, cans, paper, and snoo.
Snoo? What's snoo?
Nothing. What's snoo with you?
To find out how you can help clean up the environment, write to Make a Difference, National Wildlife Federation, Washington, D.C. 20036.
Even that snoo joke was recycled.
McGruff here with Regina to sing Users Are Losers.
Users are losers and losers are users. So don't use drugs, don't use drugs. If you know a user even part of the time, tell him to quit.
Take a bite out of crime.
Users are losers and losers are users. So don't use drugs.
And help me take a bite out of crime.
Welcome back to Take 53. I'm Susan Robinson, here with Tessa Moore. Community Liaison for the Youth and Family Counseling Center here in Cupertino. Tessa, as the Community Liaison, what do your duties consist of? I know you work with local schools.
Yes, we work fairly closely with the Cupertino School District, both at the elementary level and the high school level. One of the things that we do is we just visit the schools and continue to let them know that we're here and of the services that we offer. Maybe talk to school principals or school counselors or whatever, especially if we have a new program or a new group that we're putting together, then we'd go and visit the schools and let them know about it and what it's all about. So that's one way. Another way we work with the elementary school district is through something called the SARB, the Students Attendance Review Board, which is a board that consists of people from the district level, some parents, people from outside organizations such as ours, sometimes somebody from the probation department, usually somebody from the police department. And that board is to work with students who are having a hard time attending school for whatever reason that might be, that they have excessive absences. And we have one of the therapists from our staff liaises with the Cupertino SARB board, and that meets usually once, sometimes twice a month. So that's another way we work with the schools in Cupertino. Let's see, I'm going blank here.
Well, I know you have SelfEsteem Groups also.
Yes, we have been offering some SelfEsteem Groups lately. We don't have one running at the moment, but we're in the process of putting another one together. Those we do have done mainly at our main office on Silverado. It's called a Self-Esteem and Communications Group, and we do it in two age groups. One is from age 7 to 11, and then one is for junior high age students. And that group helps the kids begin to trust in themselves more, begin to value themselves more, begin to communicate more with people.
That sounds like a wonderful program. I know I wish that they had self-esteem groups when I was in elementary school. I think it would help a lot of children. Also, you have student assistant teams. What do those teams consist of?
The student assistant teams are run at the high school level. And those teams usually consist of some teachers, people from outside agencies, usually counseling organizations such as our own or Kids Are Special. And the people on those teams work to help the mainly at-risk students.
I see.
Often if a teacher is seeing grades fall in a class, or if there's behavior problems or something, a teacher may refer a student to the student assessment team, and they'll then work with that student to try and find out what the problem is.
So how exactly do you identify, or what signifies an at-risk student? You mentioned that maybe their attendance is falling. What other signals are there? A student whose grades may suddenly be falling, or who has a hard time keeping up in class. A student who is using drugs or comes from a background where there's substance abuse. A lot, there's a lot of things. Yeah. I see. Now, the self-esteem groups and these programs, are these strictly for at-risk children or teens, or can they be taken advantage of by any student?
They can be taken advantage of by any student. For example, the self-esteem group, a kid who is maybe a little bit shy, or not as outgoing as maybe some of his or her friends are, would definitely benefit from a group like that, yeah.
Earlier, you mentioned that the SelfEsteem group usually takes place at your center. Do you ever do them at the schools?
At the end of last year, one school did ask us if we would do a group on site, and we did the group on site, yes.
I see.
Yeah, which I think was, I think the school liked that because it was, it was nice for them to have something close by to refer the kids to. Sometimes it's hard for kids to get from school to our office, especially maybe if a parent is both parents are working. Sometimes transportation can be hard, especially for the younger ages. An 11-year-old could get on the bus and come, but a 7-year-old, it might be harder for him or her to do that.
I see.
And so we do offer it at the schools too, if a school would like that.
In the school setting, so that's basically if the school requests it, you'll go to the school?
Yes.
I see. And then do you do it classroom by classroom? Do you meet in the multi-purpose room? And how do you counsel at a school? I'm curious.
The group that they did at the school provided a room for the group to happen in.
I see.
Yeah.
What techniques do you use to improve the self-esteem of the students?
I can't speak in a lot of detail about the actual groups because it's a couple of the therapists who run the groups. But I know they do a lot of fun things. They do a lot of exercises that help kids realize that they have a choice about things. Maybe it gets them in touch with things that they didn't realize they knew, or to do things that they didn't realize they could do. I think they give the kids different jobs. So maybe a kid has a turn at being a leader when they're not used to being a leader. Those sorts of things.
That's great. I think that would be wonderful. Besides the school programs, what other programs do you offer through the Youth and Family Counseling Center?
We do groups. We do other groups besides the SelfEsteem group. In the past, we've done a group for adolescents. We've been talking in our staff meeting lately about starting a play therapy group. So there are other groups. The main service that we offer through the Youth and Family Counseling Center, though, is outpatient counseling, where a person would probably come once a week. Occasionally, they might come more, but usually people come once a week. To see one of the therapists.
I see. And how long does it usually take to complete therapy?
That really varies from case to case. Probably the average is somewhere between 10 and 15 sessions, I should think, that people come.
I see.
And sometimes people come for less, and sometimes people come for a lot longer, too.
I know other programs that your agency or your center also works with. Is one helping youth with drugs, or you're also in a group with other agencies, as I understand?
I'm on a task force called the Cupertino Drug Abuse Council, which meets here at City Hall once a month. And that group is made up of a number of people. There's people from a lot of community agencies. There's people from the city council, there's people from the school boards and the school districts. And that group is working to help raise the awareness of the drug and alcohol abuse problem in the city of Cupertino and help the community work towards some solutions.
I see. And back to the at-risk teens, usually these children or teens, I know, are referred to you. How do you approach these students in a way that or how do the therapists approach them in a way that they feel comfortable with going to therapy?
That can sometimes be hard. Often people are shy or embarrassed about calling a therapist. There seems to be kind of the attitude in society that we should be able to do it. We should be able to do it all. And we shouldn't have a hard time doing it, which is really a fallacy. Parenting is especially hard. And so there is sometimes a certain stigma attached to to therapy. But the way we approach it at the Youth and Family Counseling Center is that life is hard and that it's okay to come in and get help sometimes because we all need it.
Now, are there ever cases where the parent might not want to admit that their child has this problem, and if they don't want them to be referred, is there anything you can do about that? Or
you can't make somebody come. You know, I mean, you can't physically make somebody come. But hopefully through whoever's referring them, hopefully they've kind of been able to lay some groundwork to help people make the call. And usually once people have made the call, that's the hardest step. Once you've made the call and made the appointment, it's then not always as hard to come in for the appointment as taking that first step and dialing the phone number.
Great. So they just need to take that first step and then it's easier. I know you do work as the community liaison. Do you have a chance to work with therapy, or do you strictly work, is it the other therapists that do the therapy mostly?
I don't do any direct service in my position there. I do community networking and liaison and so on, yes.
I see. Great, so more people can find out about the services that you offer. Okay, we need to take another break, but when we return, we'll discuss how you can recognize when you need to seek help or when someone you care about needs to seek help from an outside agency.
My mother said I was too much trouble. She threw me out. It's pretty terrible out here. I wish I could go back home if they take me. I just don't know what else to do.
Wherever you are, Covenant House can get you help. Call us on the 9 line. It's free. 1-800-999-9999.
Covenant House.
Didn't I try to tell you? Didn't I try to share? When the rain came, well, you went away.
This year, 5,000 of our children will take their own lives. One way to prevent suicide is listening. Are you?
Welcome back to Take 53. I'm Susan Robinson, here with Tessa Moore of the Youth and Family Counseling Center in Cupertino. Tessa, how does a person know when they need to seek outside help or when their child or someone they care about really needs to seek outside help?
Again, people come in for a lot of reasons. So it can be one of a vast number of things. I think if people are generally feeling that they're not coping very well with whatever it might be with parenting, it might be with a spouse or a partner that you're in a relationship with, it might be with something that's going on at work. There can be a lot of reasons why somebody might want to come in and get some outside help. Somebody who's a little bit removed from the situation and could maybe be a little bit more objective about what's going on.
I see. We know that a lot of youth go through some adolescent problems, some acting out. What really sets the person who needs help apart from the regular teenager?
If an adolescent is heavily involved in drug or alcohol use, that would be one thing. If they're feeling suicidal or telling friends that they're going to kill themselves, that would be another reason. Sometimes outsiders can sometimes notice these things. Maybe a kid's personality really changes. Maybe somebody who was very outgoing becomes very withdrawn. Maybe they have mood swings, big mood swings. Maybe their grades are really changing. Maybe they used to get good grades in school and their grades are really dropping. Maybe they've stopped coming to school or come very irregularly. Those can all be kind of signs that maybe there's something going on, either with that particular kid or with the family. Sometimes it's something that's going on at home that the kid is having problems with and isn't quite sure who to go to or who to talk to, and so acts it out in another way.
So for a lot of different things. And we've really focused on youth, on high school children and elementary age children getting help. What about other age groups? Do people have to have children to come to your agency?
No, we serve all ages. Besides just seeing families with children, we see individuals, we see couples. So yes, we provide services for all people. Yes.
Also, the Youth and Family Counseling Center we know is located here in Cupertino. Does the person have to be a resident to be served or helped through your organization?
No, they don't. Probably most of the people that we see do come from the Cupertino, Sunnyvale, maybe Saratoga, Los Gatos area, just in terms of geographics, because if you're coming somewhere for a 50-minute therapy session, it doesn't make a lot of sense to drive an hour to get there and an hour to get back. We're licensed to serve all of Santa Clara County. We're, you know, a United Way of Santa Clara County agency. So no, you don't have to be a Cupertino resident.
I see. Also, what changes have you noticed in counseling, or what changes has your center gone through over the past 8 or so years that they've been here?
Well, we're seeing more people now than we were 8 years ago. We probably do an average of about 250 sessions a month now in our Cupertino offices. So I think maybe people are beginning to feel a little more willing to come in and talk.
I see.
We certainly see a lot of, at the beginning I was talking about families not necessarily being the typical American family. And I think that's a change that therapists are seeing. There's a lot more single parent families or step families that are coming in to get some help.
I see. That's great. I know there are many families out there who could use this help. People in general, so they don't have to have kids. It could be anyone from anywhere in Santa Clara County. And I know many people will be interested. Where can people call to contact Social Advocates for Youth, in particular the Youth and Family Counseling Center, if they would like to get more information or if they need counseling? What number can they call?
Our phone number is 253-3543.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know this is a service that is really needed.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us today on Take 53.